Really looking forward to talking to this brother tonight. He has a book titled Faith is Tangible. Ladies and gentlemen, repping Evil Side GANXSTA CRlP, I have TIPCEE LOCO. How are you, man?
Man, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you joining the program and sharing your story with us, man.
Like I said, I appreciate you hearing my story.
Cool. Faith is tangible. Talk to me, a little bit before we get into your life and everything. Talk to me about your book and what made you, write it.
Faith is Tangible is a self-help book. It's a book. It's obviously a Christian book. It's a book about faith, and I wrote that when I was in the hole doing a shoot for possession of a manufactured weapon, and I was at an all-time low. I had been down around that time. I want to say I was on my 13th year, could have been 15, something like that. And man, I just was looking for a better mind frame, looking to find that positivity and just, find a way to win, because I felt like I just kept losing, So I was studying. It started off as me, writing letters to myself, and it just turned into a book. And I ended up sending it to somebody, and they liked it, and they helped me get it published.
Yeah, that's dope, man. And where can everybody find it?
Everywhere. You could find it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Lulu Books. I would prefer at Lulu.com because I get the biggest royalties.
Hey, good call. What website is that again?
Lulu.com.
Lulu.com. Cool. I'm gonna make sure I promote that and put a link in the bottom when we post this. Dope, man. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about what happened in your life that maybe even led up to you writing that book while you were in the hole. So let's go all the way back, man. Let's take it all the way back, probably even before you were around, or before you jumped off the porch. But what are some of the first gangs that you remember or that about popping up in Pomona?
Well, the first gangs that I moved to Pomona in junior high. My family's originally from Inglewood. My brother's from Crenshaw Mafia. And my family's mostly from LA. I got cousins from 6 A-Tray, all the shit like that. But when I first came to Pomona, the gangs that were most relevant to me living on the north side was Ghost Town and 456, the Islands. And then, of course, you had the Trey 57s. Everybody know them. Southside Villages, Westside Pomona Mafia, Angelo Mafias, Bar Jugs, and the other Bloods that all eventually turned 456. And a lot of Mexican gangs, 12th Street, Cherryville, Happy Town, Pomona Super SA. And those are about it before other gangs started popping up.
Yeah. What, and Evil Side, when, to the best of your knowledge, when did Evil Side make an appearance?
Well, not to the best of my knowledge. I was there. Evil Side came about around 97.
Okay.
And, we was a clique at first. We all stayed in Ghost Town, which is on the north. We stayed in the middle of Ghost Town. And, at that time, they was kind of going through a drought, which what a drought is and gangbanging is, when a lot of older homies get locked up and there's not really no recruiting, and you're looking at the hood and there's nobody there. We just lived there, and because they was going through that drought, we didn't want to be from there. They weren't looking the most desirable. So we kind of started our own thing. Me and my best friend was the main ones, and we had a clique. The original clique it wasn't Crips, it wasn't Bloods, it was just called ROM. And that stood for Riders on a Mission, which was, some juvenile clique stuff. And our mission was basically, sell drugs, make money. And the thing about the ghost towns being gone was that, the north in Pomona is predominantly black. There's no Mexican gangs up there. The Mexicans are on the south. They got the whole south. And they got pieces of the west. And, our mission was to keep them off the north and, make all the little money. So that's how ROM started. And what happened is, you know, with click banging, anybody who's gang banging knows that most clicks turn into gangs. And, you know, we start beefing with other clicks. And one of the clicks we started beefing with it was only about 5 of them. And that was my homie Kane, who was originally from 87. And the name of their clique was Evil Side. They had just came out like 98. And, you know, upon beating each other up, what we found was that me, my homie Nah, and Kane, we all really liked each other. And we were, you know, popular kids, and we really had a good recruiting ability. You know, by that time, it was probably like 40, 50 ROMs. And like I said, there was only 5 of them that had just started. So, you know, he felt that it was good to click up with us for the numbers, and we felt that it was good to click up with him just because we liked him, and he was already a gangbanger. And, you know, I think really me and Knock, our vision was to start, you know, an actual Crip gang. And that's how it came about, you know.
Okay.
And it was originally 2 sides, Evil Side Riders, which was, you know, some little Crips and some that were just, you know, just originally from ROM, and then they side. And eventually it just turned into Evil Side Gangsters, just naturally. And what really made us more official was the fact that we're in the middle of Ghost Town. We're getting deep. Now we're the gang that's known in Ghost Town. Like, you know, they're starting to call the main street that goes through Ghost Town is Evil Grove. I mean, it's Grove. And it's Grove Street. And, you know, we're all there selling weed, selling drugs, and different people, you know, even white kids from other cities, different people coming down there to get their weed, and they start calling that street Evil Grove, which is really in the middle of Ghost Town. You know, we had no intention of taking a hood or anything. You know, it just happened naturally. And some of them start getting out the pen and took offense, and, you know, they became our first enemies. And that really put us on the map was, you know, our little wars with them.
How does a gang, you know, just starting out, how do they promote? How do you guys recruit? Like, what's that whole process of trying to grow?
Trying to grow, I don't know the process of trying to grow, but, you know, I know everybody has their heyday where, you know, it's like any trend where you guys are hot right now. You know, I remember in my time, Evil Side was hot, you know, was trendy. And the other gang that was hot, that was getting a lot of numbers at that time, was West Side Pomona Mafia. And other gangs was kind of dwindling down. Everybody had their heydays. But for us, the recruiting was, like I said, we were popular kids in school. And the people that's joining gangs is mostly kids. And we had a lucrative Dre drug going on with weed, which is a popular drug. And we had a lot of homegirls. And I'm going to tell you a big secret about gang recruiting is homegirls, is girls. Wherever there's girls around and there's weed and drinking and partying going on, a kid is going to find that attractive. He's going to find that attractive. And when you're the popular kid in school and stuff like that, and, you know, kids is moving from other cities to these continuation schools, and they don't know which gang is the gang. They just know they see, oh, I see Tip, I see Knock, I see these cool kids over here. This must be the shit, you know? And yeah, having fun. And so then they get into it. And, you know, they probably realize later, like, oh, this is a newer gang, you know, I kind of have backed up against it. But by that time, you already got, you know, I call it the loyalty bug. You already got that family feeling.
Yeah. Where
you feel like you'll die for this man next to you. So, yeah, that's how I can say it happens naturally. You know, it's really about things that are attractive to that kind of youth.
Yeah.
You know, drugs, partying, women.
Makes a lot of sense. Let's talk about your journey through the system, you know, that eventually led up to you doing many years in prison. Did you do juvie, CYA, you know, jail, all that?
I didn't do CYA. I did go to camp. I mean, I went to juvie. I was in and out of juvie, you know, Los Padrinos. I've been to Los Padrinos. I've been to Central Juvenile Hall. I've been to what's the other one they send you? Sillmore.
Sillmore, yeah, everything
And
sugar free.
yeah, but if you're from Pomona though, you're going straight to LP 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, and Downey.
But I've been to camp. I went to Camp Rocky, and actually, you know, speaking of ghost towns and all that, I went to Camp Rocky behind a fight that turned into a battery, and you know, dude said I was, you know, harassing him, following him around and stuff. You know, he was another gang member. You know, he was from Ghost Town, but he wasn't a real Ghost Town. You know, and dude called himself Diamond Blue, but you know, and I ended up beating him up at his job. I shouldn't say beating him up. We fought. He lost at the end. At his job, he worked at a Burger King, and you know, the window got broke, and some glass was in his back and my arms and stuff like that. And I got a year in camp, and I went and did that year in Camp Rocky. And you know, I'm gonna keep it real, man. I hated it. You know, camp was like the army. You got dudes yelling at you, telling you what the hell to do, march around, this and that. You got to wake up, and for somebody that was just on the streets gang banging and hustling, like, you know, that's a lot of restrictions. Then the camp I was at, it was all PDLs, you know, which is Bloods, which we don't beef with being from Pomona, but you know how kids are. So my back was up against the wall in that situation too. It was plenty of times I almost got jumped. And, you know, then I got out, and at first I was spooked, man. I was trying to, you know, stay out the way. I even thought about going to the Navy. But I got back in the homies, you know how the homies talk. You know, man, you can't do that, man. You can't leave the hood. Now we at war and stuff like that. And, you know, I ended up sticking around. I stayed out exactly a year, about a year and 1 month, because I got out on Thanksgiving 2001. And I caught this case right here, December 6th, 2002. I caught this case, I was 18. And prison is bad. But LA County Jail has got to be the worst place on earth.
Oh, really? See, I've heard.
It's got to be the worst.
Talk to me about why and the differences.
Well, you know, in prison. There's rules and structures as far as, you know, like I got my homies, you got your homies. You know, different. You know, I'm not gonna get into all the business, but you know, different groups hang together. You know, different sections that may not get along on the streets, but we're together here. You know, and blacks are all together and stuff like that. So there's rules. You can't just put your hands on somebody or do something stupid on some street stuff. But in county jail, it's still just gangbanging. And it's still just victimizing. It's still just catch you slipping. And it's a lot of freedom while you're walking around, going to court tanks, stuff like that. You know, they just let you walk. Not to mention, in my day, you know, the police was part of the problem. You know, the LA deputies was like a gang themselves. They'll beat you up too. I got beat up by them about 2 times.
Damn.
And, you know, they're going to let anything go on. Back then, since then, it's been a lawsuit, you know, way after I left county jail, and there's cameras down there now. But at that time, it was a dungeon. But on the gangbanging, it's still like that. It's like the streets, and you locked up with all your enemies. And it doesn't help that everybody's pissed. People in there facing life. Mm-hmm. Some people in here, no support from their people, ain't got nothing, they hungry. You know, they see an enemy. Well, it's like, if it's 8 of my homies in the dorm, and an enemy walk up in here, you know, he got the nerve to walk up in here with a gang of property, a gang of store, you know. If it's some vultures, they going to victimize him. And that's the type of stuff that happens in county jail that can't happen in prison. You can't do that in prison. There's too much structure. There's too many invisible lines drawn. And, you know, in that way it's better and it's worse. You lose a little bit of freedom on what you can and can't do, but you also gain a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, what society has rules. A little bit of stability. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. But, you know, you enter, like, I remember the first day, and I entered a dorm in LA County Jail, And I was 18 years old, you know, and coming from camp, coming from the halls, you know, I was probably the last time I've been in camp in the halls, I was one of the oldest kids there. Now you walking in with grown men, you know, big ass arms and chest and tattoos, you know, older than your big brother, older than your dad, you know, and they don't give a fuck if you're 18 or whatever. If they feel like they want to get down with you or that's what's gonna happen. So, you know, you walk in there and it's like a culture shock. You know, you think you hard when you're 18 till you walk into something real like that. And you still hard, but on the inside you like, yeah, I gotta graduate. I better start doing some push-ups or something to get my game up. You know, and that's just the initial shock, you know, of it all. And then eventually you get used to it, and honestly, eventually you lose your mind too. You know, I was in there facing 3 life sentences, and you know what I ended up getting after it was all said and done was 44 years. You know, and so you eventually lose your mind and you slide right into madness with them, and then you ship off to prison. I hit prison. I went through tax-free reception. I was 19. And, you know, that was enough of that was a little bit of culture shock, too. But it's still reception. And they sent me all the way up north to High Desert State Prison, which anybody that knows about California prisons is that High Desert State Prison in Pelican Bay at that time was the most dangerous and well-known prisons, and, you know, in terms of violence and stuff like that in California. And when I landed up there, you know, I knew it was real. It looked like a movie to me. It was snowing. I had never even seen snow.
Damn.
You know, my first cellie that when they put me in the cell with, he had been down since 1979. And I remember when I came in the cell, man, you know, and I'm real light skinned. So the first thing he did when I came out the door, he was like, "Man, you black, right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm black." He says, "You a Crip, right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm a Crip." He said, "All right, go ahead, come up in here." You know, and he gave me my little care package and shit like that. And he asked me about my case. I said, "Man, you know, I got a robbery, attempted murder, attempted kidnapping." You know, he had a murder. And he's like, "Yeah, I've been down since 1979. And I remember it was like reality struck. I said, "Shit, you know, they really hold dudes this long." Like, this is real. And I had to take a nap.
Damn, dude.
But yeah, life in prison, man, there's some positives in here as far as you learn structure, you get to know yourself, you can educate yourself. You definitely gonna have to grow up fast. You coming in as a kid, man, because you know these dudes not playing no games with you. The age don't matter in here. You got to follow all the rules. You got to have heart. You got to get down when it's time to get down. If it's a riot or individual, you know, or you got to go. And even then, if you got to go, you gonna have to get beat up to go or stabbed or whatever. So it will mature you. And then just, you know, back in the day when I first started prison, we were doing 16-month lockdowns, 2-year lockdowns. You're gonna have some time in that field to get to know yourself and educate yourself. You're gonna have to find yourself. That's the positives, and the negatives we know.
So when you say 16-month lockdown, you mean that means you can't leave your cell for 16 months type shit, or go outside, or explain what that means to everybody.
See, all right, and what I'm gonna say as a disclaimer is that now, since I first got locked up, they changed the rules. Oh. Now they can only keep you locked down without leaving your cell for, I think it's a month or whatever. Now, because of all the lawsuits and saying it was inhumane and stuff like that. But back when I first got locked up, the first 10 years or whatever, they could lock you down for as long as they want to. So let's say we had a riot with the Mexicans. They lock us down and they say, you know, before we let y'all up, we want to search everybody, make sure y'all don't have no knives. We want to search all your cells. So you're locked down. And you know, the police being as corrupt as they are, let nobody be fooled. And these cops in here are the biggest criminals in here. They're gonna lollygag. They're gonna take months and months to search, and then a kite's gonna get dropped. Or so they say a kite's gonna get dropped, and you're not gonna come off. They're gonna search again. So yeah, you would do the longest lockdown I did was in High Desert State Prison. After a riot we had with the Northaniel Mexicans, and I did 16 months straight, and that's in the cell. Back then, no canteen, no package, definitely no yard. They run shower. They'll take you to the shower, handcuffed, escort you to the shower every 3 days if you want that. And other than that, man, you're just in the cell. And that's when I say, find yourself. Unless you just a serious crack baby, and you in that situation for 16 months, you're going to find yourself. And the same thing with a shoe term, because a shoe term is essentially the same thing. You're just in the cell. And you're going out to the cage yard. And that could be 2, 3, 4 years, or before this last lawsuit, it could be unlimited. I know people that was in the shoe before they won the lawsuit that said that was inhumane to give people indeterminate shoes. I know old dudes that got out after that lawsuit that have been in the shoe 20, 30 years, just in solitary confinement. So yeah, that's what I mean by lockdown. It's a lockdown. You in the cell.
What's something that could start a prison riot?
A prison riot is funny that you asked that question. What could start a prison riot? Arnold, anything could start a prison riot. Yeah. The stupidest thing, because the main thing about prison is respect. So anything that could be considered disrespect can start a prison riot. And I'm not telling anything that's not known. So I'll tell you one little story, not mentioning no names. Was like I just told you, we had some riots with the Northaniels way back when I was up north, right? We had two back-to-back riots with them. We went down for 16 months. Now, our plan was to go up with them again, but after 16 months, we wanted to kind of get some canteens and stuff like that. We were hungry. They were hungry. So we were like, man, let's at least make one draw. So they said it was cool. We said it was cool. We both knew it wasn't cool. We both knew they were trying to go to the store. We were trying to go to the store. And what happened is on that specific yard, there was no others, which others are Asians, Indians, and all that type of stuff. Okay. And there were no others because we had a riot with them as well back in the day, and they took them off the yard because they're a small group. Well, they put others on that yard during that lockdown. And in prison, everybody has their own tables. The blacks have their own tables. The Mexicans have their own tables. The whites have, everybody has their own area. And the Northaniels had their own tables. And there's certain groups that really got to find a table to share, And so on that lockdown, the Asians had took residence at the Northaniels tables. So when we came up, while we're thinking that we might go at it with them, long story short, they have a riot behind that table, and that's what that riot was over. It was over a table in the grass, a little slab of concrete. And what's funny about that is that they slammed them for how long they slammed them. They came up, they rioted again. They slammed them again, and when they slammed them the second time, they pulled the tables out the little slab of concrete. Like, y'all want to ride over tables? Ain't no tables over here. And they rioted over the slab of concrete. So I've seen riots. I've seen riots over a shower. Anything could start it because, like I said, the difference between county jail and here is that when you get to the pen, now you got to get along with everybody. Now you're black, you're Mexican, you're white. So if one individual doesn't get along with another one individual, we're all going to have his back and they're going to have his back. And the smoke is going to clear later. And if it was over something stupid, they're going to get handled. But in the meantime, there was already a riot.
So you're squabbling up, side to side with your enemy, who would be your enemy on the street, right? But just for sheer numbers, you got to come together.
Yep, yep. And that's on when you come into prison, it's a race thing, and it's a regional thing. So it's race first, then it's region. And no matter how you look at it, yeah, and that's the hypocrisy of it. That's the one of the things that blows my mind is that the dude that she was just jumping on in county jail or shooting at on the streets. When you get to prison, and it's this kind of unity, now that's your homie. And I mean that literally. I'm not gonna name gangs and names, but I mean that literally. Like the dude that was just your worst enemy is now your comrade, so to say. Mm-hmm. And that's in all the groups.
I understand the regional thing, with Latinos when it comes to norteño, sureño. It's also like that with blacks, so it's black first, and I'm from SoCal, or black first, I'm from NorCal.
Yeah, it's blacks first, and I'm from the Bay. Or blacks first, and I'm from Southern California, or blacks first, I'm from LA. Blacks first, but I'm from Pomona, or blacks first, but I'm a blood. So it's like levels to this. Like there could be black on black riots. There are black on black riots where this region of blacks and that region of blacks to get into it.
Are there Latino on Latino riots?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Norteño, Sureño.
Gotcha.
Yeah, definitely. Bulldogs, any of them groups could have gotten into it.
What got you put in the hole, the shoe, and when you ended up writing, started writing for your book?
It was possession of a inmate manufactured weapon.
Gotcha.
It was a knife. And what happened was when I got into it with a certain individual, and we almost got into some knife play or whatever. And I'm not gonna say I forgot about it, but I didn't think about it. And whatever may have occurred, whether it was somebody snitched behind the scenes or whatever, they end up running in my cell and finding a weapon.
And how long did you get? You said.
Really, it was just a 6-month shoot, but I ended up doing 11 months on that shoot because I was on a lower level, and I lost that privilege, so I had to spend an extra 5 months in the hole waiting to get transferred. And it was during that time that I wrote that book because. And I just felt like, irregardless of my surroundings, where I'm at, being in prison, that there was still greatness in me. And, we was all, I don't care who you are, man. You could be the most hardcore gang member with tattoos on your face, all that, man. At some point in your life, man, you knew God. We all came from moms and grandmas and stuff like that. And they would be telling us good stuff. We just didn't listen. And, not to be a cliche, but you always run back to God and reading the Bible and stuff like that when you're in the biggest hole, when you're in a disarray, when you're feeling dire. And I just started, I started reading, and I was writing an essay on Job and how he dealt with it. And I remember always thinking about Job, that he was punished unjustly and that he was so perfect. But then, but he still kept the faith. But then when I was reading Job, I seen also, Job was suicidal. The young man got to kill him. And so Job wasn't perfect. And it just started from here, and I started just reading all about faith and stuff like that. And I'd already been into... Most of the dudes in here is into reading a lot of books like Dale Carnegie, Think and Grow Rich, and different books like that. Has a Man Thinketh. That's about positive thought and what it could do. And that was my mind process when I was writing the book and I was studying faith in the Bible. I was just thinking that I could do better, and it all started with my mind. And so I wrote the book for myself. And I got out the hole. I mailed it out to my sister. And then it got passed around to a few different people. And I kind of, a little team established of black women, a little team established of women, my sister, my mom, a couple unrelated females. And, they typed it up for me, helped me copyright it, different stuff like that. And it got published. And, I read my own book now for myself. And since I've developed that mind thought of these walls don't define me, as a man thinketh, if I think it, I could do it. If I put my mind to it, I could do it. My life has got significantly better, I got action at getting out now. I'm no longer broke. I got plenty of money in the bank. I got a published book, as we said. I'm married to a woman that I love, Nicole. She wanted me to say her name. We started a family business together, shark vending machine business, and I'm just doing things from here that I never even dreamt of, and just the possibilities when I get out, I believe is limitless. So that's where the book came from, just, sitting in a dark, dank hole, but knowing on the inside that, man, I'm better than this. How did I get here? Bad enough I'm in prison, yet I keep knocking myself down, through negative thinking. So that's where the book came from, just me trying to fix my mind and stuff like that. And since then, it's been able to help other people. And, I think that's dope. For me, some dude who's been in prison, 18 years, I think 16 when the book got published, 16 or 17, to get little notes and stuff from people saying that I helped them during this COVID, or that I motivated them to believe no matter where they started that they could do it. That's dope for me. That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah. How old were you when you found Jesus, and more importantly, how important is faith when you're facing 44 years?
I think I always knew God. I think what stopped me was, and I want to speak on that too, because a lot of people question me on that. People ask me different stuff, because I still associate with not with the same people, but I still associate with people that maybe the average person in church would think is not someone you should associate with. I always knew God. I think doing all this, and doing this time, and doing all the things I've done, and and some of the things that I'm forced to continue to do. I was in a riot recently. I felt unworthy of His grace. I felt unworthy, and I guess that's because I didn't study. But after studying, I seen, man, that I ain't gotta be perfect. And then, like I said, that's a little disagreement I've had with people where, why you don't denounce everybody and denounce your whole gang and denounce, and I say like this, I don't denounce Crippin as a whole. I denounce my gang as a whole. I denounce the negative activities of it. I think that I think that black men coming together could be a positive thing. It's just a lot of things get into it and got into it that changed it to what it was. We all know that Crip didn't start on black man killing other black men. We all know that. And the other thing, what I'm trying to say is, like, you can say what you want to say. Like, I've seen, I've read stuff that Mustard Cody has said and things that Tookie said before he died, but we all know that they didn't really denounce anything. So you can say or they did on paper, but reality is reality. You can say what you want to say, but it's like if you went to college and you was from a fraternity, like, you're not in college in that fraternity no more, but that's still where you came from. And it's like, if you from Evil Side or Trey 57 or Pomona Mafia or 6 or whatever, you know, and you know you're no longer active or you're no longer with the negativity, that's still where you came from. That's still part of who you are. And I don't want to denounce these young brothers. You know, I want to help them. You know, like he talked to my young homie K Finesse, and he doing a lot of positive things. Yeah, you know, me and him, we talk back and forth all the time when we can. And, you know, I want to build him up, and just like he wants to build me up, and I don't want to tell him that, man, you got to do this and you got to do that, man, and you ain't shit. And no, that's not what it is. To denounce you is to say that ain't nothing good about you. No, I understand these young men. I understand what makes you make them choices. I understand that you was born in this neighborhood or you live in this neighborhood, you grew up, and that's what it was. Like, part of the thing when we was talking about my gang starting, or my gang becoming more and more of a gang till we became what we was, is that, you know, the older gangs wanted us to be from their gang, and they, you know, they wasn't asking nicely, so it was almost like a survival thing. Like, we gonna have our own thing, or we're gonna end up being from this gang, one or the other. Or we gonna be running to school every day. Either way, we're gonna be in some stuff. So I understand these kids, man. You know, they're a product of their environment, and amongst other things, like all kids, looking for acceptance, looking for prosperity, and the only prosperity you're seeing is, you know, down these avenues. So yeah, I think, you know, that's a long-winded answer to your question, but I think I always knew God, but harsh times made me put him in the background because, you know, I thought I was the devil, so there's no point in me talking to God. And life, God, whoever knocked me on my butt for the 10,000th time, and, you know, I had to talk to him again, and, you know, I found the scriptures that told me, man, that I didn't have to be perfect to be, you know, worthy of a relationship with him. And nobody does, man. God want a relationship with everybody. Whether you got 5,000 tattoos on your face, whether you a gang member, whether you a prostitute, whatever it is you're doing, man, he want a relationship with you, and he wants you to do better. You know, and I do too.